I'm going to keep this straightforward because I know a lot of you are sitting on the fence, wondering whether the Bose 901 direct reflecting speaker system is worth the space it takes up and the price tag it carries. My goal here is to break down the everyday experience of actually putting these speakers into a living room, a home theater setup, or even a larger open-plan space, and help you decide if the value lines up with what you need. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the 901 isn't a plug-and-play bookshelf set that you can toss on a stand and forget about. The design is built around what Bose calls direct reflecting sound. In plain language, the 9 drivers in each cabinet are aimed slightly upward and outward so that sound bounces off the ceiling and walls before it reaches your ears. The idea is to create a diffuse, room-filling ambience that feels larger than the actual speaker size. When that concept works, the room feels like you're sitting in a small concert hall rather than just listening to a box. I've spent a few weeks testing a pair in a 20 by 30 foot living room with a fairly high ceiling. The first thing you notice is how quickly the sound spreads. A movie soundtrack that normally feels pushed forward on a 2-speaker setup suddenly takes on a sense of depth. Dialogue stays clear, but the background orchestration and ambient effects feel like they're coming from all directions. For a family movie night with kids jumping on the couch, that immersive feel makes the whole experience more engaging without you having to lean forward or raise the volume. That same spaciousness translates surprisingly well to music. I streamed a live jazz recording, and the horns seemed to sit above the room while the rhythm section hung around the perimeter. The 9 drivers really help to keep mid-range details from becoming congested, especially when you're playing complex arrangements. If you're the type who likes to host dinner parties and have a soundtrack that stays audible in the background without drowning out conversation, the 901 can handle that nicely. However, the reflecting principle also introduces a hidden trade-off. Placement matters more than you might expect. Because the speakers rely on ceiling and side reflections, putting them too close to a window or a heavily carpeted wall can mute the intended effect. In my test house, moving a speaker 2 feet away from a large window cut the perceived width in half. The freestanding active equalizer that comes with the system does a decent job of compensating, but it can't fully fix a poor room geometry. So if you live in a tiny apartment with low ceilings, you'll probably end up fighting the acoustics rather than enjoying them. Another practical consideration is bass. The 901's 9 drivers are all full range, which gives you a clean, articulate low mid-range, but they don't produce the deep, tactile bass you'd expect from a dedicated subwoofer. In a large room, the bass can feel a bit thin, especially during action movies with explosions or modern pop tracks that rely on a booming sub-bass line. Many owners pair the 901 with a separate subwoofer, and that combo restores the low-end punch. If you're planning on using the speakers as a standalone system for a true home theater experience, you should budget for an extra sub. Now let's talk about the cost. The Bose 901 sits in a premium price bracket, and the price is largely justified by the brand's research into psychoacoustic design, the 9-driver layout, and the included active equalizer. For someone who values a unique soundstage and is willing to spend a bit more to avoid the 2-speaker wall of sound feel, the price can feel justified. But if you're comparing against a pair of modern bookshelf speakers that deliver solid stereo imaging with tighter bass at a lower price point, the 901's value proposition narrows. The system shines when you need a wide, enveloping sound field rather than pinpoint accuracy. Who should consider buying these? First, anyone with a fairly large listening area. Think open-plan living rooms, dedicated home theater rooms, or even a spacious office that doubles as a media space. If you enjoy hosting movie marathons, gaming sessions where positional audio matters, or you simply want a speaker set that makes background music feel alive across the room, the 901 fits nicely. Second, if you appreciate a design that's a little retro-futuristic and you don't mind a standalone equalizer unit on a shelf, the aesthetic will likely resonate with you. Who should walk away? If your space is under 150 square feet, you'll probably struggle to get the full benefit of the reflecting design. If you're on a tight budget, there are more efficient stereo solutions that give you stronger bass without the extra subwoofer cost. And if you're looking for a minimalist setup with a single cable connection, the separate equalizer adds a layer of complexity you may not want. In terms of durability, the walnut finish holds up well to everyday use. Minor fingerprints wipe clean, and the cabinets don't show wear after moving them a few times. The drivers.